The whole reason for the building committee is to decide the feasibility of building a new public safety building for the town of Lincoln, for possibly police, fire, town hall, maybe an ambulance bay, maybe not. Is it a good idea to put them all together? Should we even do it? Should town hall have its own building and police fire have a separate one? Should we stay where we are and not do anything? That's the whole reason why we are all here, is to figure that out. We have started putting a little money in the CIP to start covering some engineering costs and whatnot if we do incur some. The thought, or one of the thoughts I should say, is the land at the bottom of Mansion Hill, the old airport property that the town owns. Was there about 4 acres there? Is that right?
Just about 4 acres,
Just
yeah.
about 4 acres there. So that's right on the highway. The thought was that would be a great place to have a town building, public safety building, town hall, police, fire, have an ambulance bay or not. I don't know if we could get an on-ramp onto the interstate for emergency use or not. I mean, none of that's been looked at, but there's certainly been some ideas that have been thrown around. I did talk to a couple of realtors, local realtors, very unofficial, just kind of chatted with them. And they estimate that the current town hall police building could be worth between, I think, 1.2 and 1.5 million dollars, depending on if there's any covenants on the deed. In other words, if any of the parking has to remain public parking, or if they get all three entrances with the property or not. And of course, I didn't have any of the answers to that. So if we were to build a new building, could this one, or should this one be sold to offset the cost of the new building? Or those are all the thoughts that have been floating around in my head. Now it's up to us to figure out if we should do any of that or something different or nothing at all. I don't know, we should have a chair for this committee. And I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer.
Well, it's just, my suggestion is that it not be obviously a staff member. We're here
Right.
to provide you guys with info, our thoughts. But so really right now it's you and John. But I mean, that's my opinion. That's what I pretty much told them, we would be a support role and give you.
Right. And I feel that I should, as a selectman, should be more of an ex officio member. Therefore, that leaves John as the chair.
Right now, John or Jim or
Jim or Debbie, if they, or
Debbie or Al.
Lynn, yeah, if any of them are able to. And we can adjust the time of the meetings as well to try to better fit the schedules of
Schedules,
everybody.
yeah.
Right. We just kind of threw this one out here to get a sense of when people could meet. I guess it wasn't a good one for the other three folks that expressed an interest.
Well, I think they're trying to get in. I think technology is Jim and Debbie. I think that's what they're fighting. I think from the calls to, I think they're available, they're around. They just can't get in or don't know how.
Perfect. I'm just writing a few things down.
Yeah.
So John, you're unmuted. If you'd unmute John and let us know if you're agree to chair the meetings.
You're still muted, John.
Still muted, John.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, I just don't know what my availability is going to be. That's the problem. I don't mind temporarily doing it, but just to do it quite frequently, it's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
Right.
And you probably have someone else that's a little better at it anyway.
So if one of the others would like to be the chair, we could put you on as vice chair if you don't mind.
Yeah, something like that would be fine. Sure.
Okay. When we send out the minutes, we can also get input from the others as to a better time, day or time that might be better for them to meet.
I'm retired, so this kind of a time is great for me, but at night it would be a pain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, night meetings are tough because that's all we do is
Yeah.
meet at night, but yeah.
right. And where we have staff members that we want to be present at this meeting during the day when they're already at work would be better, I think.
Mhm.
Um,
I know
know-
Al's just taken on I'm not sure what the hours are, but he's now the fire chief um,
Barnstead.
in Barnstead. I think it's a part-time gig, but I don't know what is, obviously, I'm sure it's daytime hours, probably 30 hours a week, I'm guessing, but he'd make a good chair. He certainly knows, he's been in the public sector for 28, 30 years. He retired from Manchester Fire, so, but I'm not sure what his availability is. And Jim and Deb, I mean, it certainly been residents of the community a long time.
It's unfortunate that they weren't able to join us.
I don't know, Ron, should you try to give him a call, a phone call? Do we have a phone for Jim to maybe talk him through it so he could get on today? Just, even if just one of them could get on. I'm sure they're together. I mean, I'm sure that,
Right, right.
you're muted if you're talking to us, Ron.
There we go. Yeah, I don't have his number.
Yeah, okay. Well. All right,
Might have been in a previous version of a phone.
yeah.
I just
Well, as a suggestion, John or Tim, maybe if we'd accomplish nothing else and do the two of you agree that we need to do this? I mean, the board would like, the Board of Selectmen, I think, believe it is. And maybe we could set an informal or at least a tentative schedule of, and maybe, even though we're in COVID and the building is locked down, for this committee, we could certainly arrange even after our tour, or so for those that haven't seen the entire building, and start there or something, just to refresh everybody's memory of what the place looks like and some of the security concerns we have and the space concerns for the PD. Go to.
Good. That would be good. The other thing would be if you could make prints of the 2 floors in the building. So that
We
could
have-
study them before we got there.
We have a set of original drawings. That's the only ones we have, but they're pretty much the same. There was some things have changed. We had to put in a stairway to the storage. There was a storage facility area that was sheetrocked in and planned, but they never put a stairway to it.
Mhm.
All that stuff was cut. So those are changes, but you would see them in your tour. We can do that.
You could almost imagine taking those prints and having the people responsible for those floors indicate how much more room they need or what other types of rooms they need that would have to be added on to make it flow better.
I agree. And one of the things that, given our state of our world, that Chad and Jeff and I did today is I'm really concerned, not as much as other places in the country, but of security and town halls and government places in general. And just simply when I thought I had a plan in my mind where people could go, and when we got looking at it, it didn't flow like I thought it did. And so just that, and then as you will see, and I'll let Jeff and Chad talk for themselves, but the security down at the PD, just the simple windows at ground level,
Mhm.
and there's just it's worn out. It's run its time. It is, to have your town hall in downtown with a brick and is New England and very attractive, but it is, we're cramped for space, even upstairs, not as much as downstairs, but upstairs, there's, I've got Ron up so he's got an official office in town hall, simply because the fire station is too, he has an office, but it's not professional, things like that. So,
Well, not only that, but this is a squeaky little town, but at times it gets extremely busy, like during the fall when you got the Scottish games and things like that. So if anything got a little bit out of control there, you do want a little better security, especially for the police department.
yeah, and as since this has been talked about, I've taken upon myself to just talk with towns and city managers as it's popped up about how their facilities are located. And that's one of the things they did when they have built new facilities is they looked at that. It's not having it in the busiest parts of town because you're away from it a bit, not enough so it's a inconvenience to citizens, but in emergencies, your emergency apparatus is outside the busy, so they have more options about responding. So there's a lot to that, and so and it's the town hall is as Tammy said, rightly so, it's valuable real estate in our current world, and so it would take the sting. It wouldn't probably cover, but it certainly would take the sting out of a new facility for sure.
Yeah. So which we have floor plans of town hall and the
We
police
do.
department
Yep.
at town hall. Can you get,
Yeah. What are you thinking, John? These are full size architectural. Thinking reduced copy. I mean, I'd have to send them out to get copied. Obviously, we can't do it in house. So,
Well, so it should be something that we could mark up or just draw on to sketch things in, because, we could go over to the police chief and say, what would you like? And as we're talking to him, maybe sketch, how would you like it located, this new room versus what you got? And how could the layout be changed to be more efficient for you than what you have now? Something like that. But I don't think you want to take the original prints and draw on them.
no,
You want to hold them as pristine.
we'd have to copy. So
Yeah.
we'll do something. Yeah.
that's not a cheap thing though.
No, it's not.
So maybe not do that. How about if because we're also talking the fire department too. So can we just have the chiefs, thinking about the building that you're in and outline what works well and what doesn't, and what some of the wants are and what some of the needs might be.
That might be a
Exactly.
good start. That
Yeah,
might be a good start.
Well, we
Right.
might be able to take those plans and get them scanned electronically, and then we could distribute thumb drives. And then we could
Idea.
email a
print it up
printable.
electronically and then share it, on screen or whatever.
What would you think?
Good, Ron, if you want to do that, go for it.
Yeah, well,
I
we
gotta
can
find
get them scanned. We can probably get them scanned relatively inexpensively. I mean,
Yeah, probably.
they just run them through a scanner.
And
Yeah,
then
just
make
put
them
'em on the thumb
emailable.
drive, we
So
can
that,
copy it off.
well, if you can email it out, we can all print a copy ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
What
a good idea.
would you think about not reinventing the wheel, but if any of us have seen facilities that we think work pretty well, and maybe we could talk them out of floor plans for existing buildings to give us ideas on what's been done in other places? Is that, or do you want to start from scratch on our own?
I think if
But
anybody wants to do any individual research on their own, bring everything they can to the table and so we can look at it. Absolutely. I know that there's a facility not far from my dad's house down here that is the police department, the recreation department, and an ambulance bay. But that's it. There's no town hall, there's no fire department in it, and that,
Twin Mountain just built a complete complex of police, fire, and town hall. in Twin Mountain, and it's from the outside, I have not been in it, but from the outside, it's. and it's
I wonder if they
combined
would
all
be
this-
willing to let people come see it on an individual and,
Well, I think that would be an
Distance.
inquiry we could make. I mean, I'm sure Chad talked to Twin Mountain PD would let them tour that, whatever I don't know what they have
Right.
there, other than,
That might
Yeah,
be
even
able
if
to
it's just-
talk to-
even if
Huh?
it's just one of us and one of us comes back with the details or something.
and that's a building in the last 2 years.
I could talk to the Sugar Hill Fire Chief because his company's the one that oversaw all the construction on that building. He might be able to
Cool.
share a set of plans
No,
for.
and I mean, they're all over the state, but I know Molten Borough has a combined police fire. That town hall is not in there, but, which has been there for quite a few years. And I don't know, Chad, you guys, you've been around the state. Anybody else?
Yeah, we have about 4 different examples I think we can pull up pretty easy.
Right.
That we've seen that are newer, that, certain things that we see that we like, that we don't like. But yeah, we could pull up some examples.
Tammy, I think that for an agenda is that the committee, most importantly, the 5 of you, get to look at what we got, not that you haven't seen it, but you haven't seen it, look at what we got. Maybe just our written thoughts, and then make the decision, is the town even ready for this? Because I think these committees can drag on, but if as a committee you come to the conclusion this isn't the time, then it really doesn't. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, John, you've sat on some stuff and worked your butt off, and it didn't come to fruition on several projects over the years. Not that this, even if we move on, it might not, but I think that's the big thing. And from what I feel is the town ready to, and to be honest, if the police and fire get moved and it frees up a bunch of space for town hall, and, then I think the town hall folks would be well served with some few upgrades and stuff, but I think the Main Street would be better served and taxpayers, if we've got a more efficient building. This building, the current building is not efficient, to make that, so that we can heat it well. And we were trying to replace all the air conditioners and heating and air conditioners now, things like that. We do have some mold down in the PD area, especially in and around their evidence room. We're pretty sure that there's hidden mold in there. So,
Right.
ideally that we'd move all the town complex. But would life stop if we didn't? Absolutely not, but yep, Jim's coming in.
Oh, yay.
Yep.
Good.
You might want to speak to him. He might be just on phone, but he's muted.
You're muted, Jim. Are you there? I've never phoned in. If he's on the phone, how does he unmute?
No, he would be on and a phone number would be up instead of his name. So who's on a
Okay.
computer?
Gotcha. All right, so he's gonna unmute himself.
Yeah. And if he's not familiar with this, it's at the bottom left.
Yeah, if he's move his cursor.
Yeah,
He's
There we
got it.
go.
there it is.
You're up.
Yay.
We
Hi,
can.
Debbie. Hi, Jim. How are you?
All right. Hey, you can't teach old dogs like us new tricks.
You'll get it. You'll get
That's
it.
awesome.
You're
That's
on,
awesome.
though.
I had to call my daughter's boyfriend to, he walked me through it.
Well, if you click on that camera, we can see you.
Yeah, you click on the camera so they can see you.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, but
Perfect.
where's the camera?
It's next to the mute button.
Oops,
Yep, it's right next to your mute.
right there.
You-
Look at that.
There you go.
Yay.
All right,
Hey,
okay.
So well, just to
Technology.
recap for you two, we just went over the purpose of the building committee is to decide whether it is feasible for the town of Lincoln at this time to build a new police, fire, ambulance, town hall, public safety building somewhere or not. And if we were to do that, do we sell the existing town hall to offset the cost or not? We didn't really get into that too much. We need to discuss day and time, like a meeting schedule. I know Al Poulin wants to be on the committee and he's working right now. So when we send out the minutes of the email, maybe I can get Ron to do a doodle or something and figure out a good meeting time. We can do that together. Maybe we'll do that, email it out. We want to encourage, well, I'm pretty familiar with the PD, familiar enough that I get lost in it every time I go down there, but, and the fire department, that I don't think I need to at this time go in and look around. But John and Jim and Debbie, you know, individually and practicing, you know, safe distancing and whatnot, maybe you could get a hold of either the chief or the deputy chief or Chief Beard for the fire department and take a tour, get a tour of the building. I'm sure you're pretty familiar with Town Hall, but you can certainly tour that building as well,
Yeah.
upstairs. Ron's gonna look for floor plans for the buildings to see if it's something that we can get shrunk down so it can email it out and you guys can print the floor plans and mark them up or not. We've asked the police and fire departments to make a list of what works in the current buildings that they're in and what doesn't work, what their wants and what their needs are, whether in their current buildings or a future building. And then when we come back together at the next meeting, you know, we really need to look at the information we have and decide if this is the right time for the town of Lincoln to kind of tackle something like this or not.
I
So,
personally, I think it's a good time to get it in motion, at least get some plans and like you said, the what works, what doesn't work. To take and throw it out and have people's taxes go up in that right now, I don't know if this is such a good time. We got to be able to get back into school full time and a few other things first. But I think it's a good idea to have it at least on the back burner.
Yeah, I think to Debbie's point, you're talking, if we had a pot of money today that just dropped in the town hall and said, build a town hall, even in the quickest, by the time you did the engine, you know, the architects and the engineering, the determining a location, permitting, and if we're gonna build a whole new facility, you know, the arranging for the sale and all that.
Getting the budget to pass.
You're probably talking 1.5 to 2 years at best. So
2 or 3
Right.
years.
it would be good. So if you got a set of shovel-ready plans together and it was good to go, and then when the funding comes, so there's no worry. You know, I feel confident that we will be out of this COVID deal by the end of 21. And so you'll spend most of 21, even, I believe, just determining what you want to do without anything specific. Is it a go or isn't it a go? And that's my guess. I'll let the other guys chime in, but that's your town manager's thought.
You know what I'd like to see too? If we had some kind of blueprint of that plot of land with exact measurements of the borders. Now, Ron would have some idea what size building he's gonna need. But also make it so that 20 years from now, if he needs another bay or 2 bays, leave room for it. How much room the police department's gonna take with maybe in the future building onto it. And the same with the town building. And maybe a helicopter pad. Is that area even big enough where the town owns across from Tammy Dutilly, to have the town building there and the police and fire and the helicopter pad over to the other place.
And that's a
Great
good point.
suggestion.
That's a very good point, Jim, because that piece is, you forget about that piece. But it's large enough for a building, not for everything we want to do, but you're right. That, you know, certainly could be utilized. Short of that, the town currently doesn't, I can't think of a place that the town currently owns that would be even that to be big enough for what we want. So if we don't do it there, over there, then the town would be looking to purchase something in town, you know, or add on to the existing building. And I think you should put that on your list. Do we modify the existing building? Getting an architect involved so that it could be modernized and expanded to a size that would accommodate. It's not out of the question. It would not solve some of the issues, but it certainly is a consideration. You know,
And on that, I think it is a concern that the police department is not running out of room. I think they're out of room.
they're out of room.
Trying to stack each other on, just trying to stack people on top of each other at this point.
They're-
So there's a
If all
need.
The officers are working. I personally
Right.
saw if there's chairs sitting, you'll see it when you're down there, a foot apart, if they have to come in and do their work.
Even parking is very limited.
Parking's very limited. Chad had, and I should let them tell you, I mean, they've had people filming not only their cruisers, but in the windows of the PD. You know, these,
Right.
I don't know who they were, but they, you know, right, you can't tell me to leave type people, so I
Right.
should let them
Well,
talk.
hopefully that'll be on Chad's want and need and concern list, you know, parking and security and making it so that people just can't film Chad in his office.
Right. And, you know, respectfully speaking, we are lucky to have the space we have, and we do appreciate it. The town has set us up in a nice space. Unfortunately, we're out of space, and there's some problems within the building with fresh air, and I don't even have separate facilities for males and females to use. I don't even have separate changing rooms. I've got a hallway where people can get dressed and undressed. There are a lot of concerns that we have, but primarily when it comes down to a wants and needs list, we're at the need level. We're going to seem like a cheap date. You know, we don't have any wants. We have just basic needs that we need to fulfill right now.
Sure.
But, you know, we've got a pretty good list started. Thoughts, we're flexible, but we just want to see it done right, if that's the decision that's made. And if people decide to maybe adjust this building, I think you're going to run out of space quick too. I don't think we have a lot of land, and I'm pointing to my left out my window. I don't think we can go left that far.
Well, we do have parking issues. So if we build out into the parking lot, that just creates more issues. So,
Yes. Yes.
That's agreed, you know, that is agreed.
so if we can get together your lists and maybe share them a day prior to the next meeting,
Sure.
which will be determined. I'll get together with Ron and we'll create a doodle and send it out to everyone, and you can just mark off the days and times you're available, and the most popular day and time wins.
Sure, I think,
And maybe we could get a list of our email addresses too, so the group has a central area that we can send emails to each other.
Perfect.
I'm sure somebody can gather that.
Yep.
Are you
Perfect.
thinking meeting a month for the 5 year on?
I think that's fine. I don't think we need to meet more than once a month. If we do, we can address that when we get there. So Ron and I will pick a few dates.
Still looking for a chairman.
John Hettinger has agreed to be vice chair, but he doesn't want to take on the chair responsibilities. I kind of feel that as a selectman, I should be an ex officio member and not a chair or vice chair. So Debbie and Jim, either of you want to committee?
If I was better with a computer, probably.
I mean, we can keep it,
I don't even have one.
we'll keep it super simple. It doesn't have to be,
I mean, we still have Al who.
That's it,
Yeah,
Al.
yeah.
that's it. I'll nominate Al to be chair. She's not here.
Teach him not to be here.
That's right.
That's the penalty you pay for not attending the meeting. You become,
I,
it happened in
I thought-
Rotary
I thought-
to me, so.
Okay, perfect.
I talked to him a while ago, and he's in a cellar full of water,
Not his own,
not
but
his own.
Oh, and down in Bonstead?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Perfect.
if I could say. there's
I
a
don't know
couple-
what his availability is. I know he just took on a new position at Bonstead Fire, so,
Well, we'll figure it out.
There's a couple other things I'd like to kind of put out there.
Sure.
Is I'd like to be able to say I built something that 50, 60 years from now, somebody's gonna say, they put a lot of thought into that. And not, geez, they should have done it this way, they should have done it that way, and all this and that. And another thing, I didn't tour inside the buildings, but I went up to Twin Mountain. The thing I didn't like about Twin Mountain,
there's only one entrance.
there's only one entrance for the police, the fire, and the townhouse
Like one entrance in off the road.
off the road. If the police and fire were coming out in an emergency, somebody going into the townhouse, they'd have to cross the lane of the fire truck and police coming out. I'd like to see separate entrances for the townhouse and a separate entrance for the police and fire.
well, good point. I
Yeah, absolutely.
hadn't thought about that.
I mean, that's a nice facility.
Just because of their lot?
That's the way the entrances are.
You think it was just because of their lot? I mean, they had restrictions on,
No, I think they could have made another entrance for the town further down the road.
Hmm.
oh,
Good point.
Yeah,
good
great
point.
point.
good point.
I can tell you that our situation is no better right here.
Right.
We share an entrance with a hotel.
Exactly.
I
Yep.
can't tell you how many times we've been almost T-boned right out here. I can't tell you how many times I've had snowmobiles pass by my window in a authorized police area and people walking and people almost driving through my wall into my office. It's definitely a great concern right here.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. To be
Absolutely.
honest with you.
Yeah.
I think
Great.
that's a very good point. Very good point.
Well, we have
Well,
some homework to do.
So as town staff, we've got one mission. We'll try to get some plans in some format, ASAP, and get those out to you. Yep.
Can you talk to your town hall staff too?
Yeah.
To see about the town hall's wants and needs and what currently works and what doesn't work and, what they would need in the existing space they're in or what they might possibly need in a new space.
Yep.
Or want. I was thinking too with sharing, what facilities do you think you can share? Like a conference room can be shared with, 2 or 3 different entities. We may only need one conference room, we may need 2. We certainly don't need 3 or 4, I don't think. The other thing is, you were talking about facilities for men and women. Can police and fire share locker rooms or not?
My only concern with that, and I'm sure Ron is better equipped to answer that question, is like a hazmat type of when they have to decontaminate,
Oh, right.
maybe some sort of cross contamination there, but he's probably better at that than I am.
And most police locker rooms, their lockers are also secure storage for their fire.
Oh, good point.
Have
I
the
see
option
them
of
do that.
securing
Yeah.
the Firearms. I'm not sure what Chad's.
So maybe
rules-
not locker rooms, but maybe,
Possibly a meeting room.
yeah.
We'll have meetings at the same time, maybe.
Right.
That would-
There's definitely some space that can be shared.
I mean, there's time now, having a second conference room would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to schedule with the budget committee and the joint
Well,
budget
even-
with Lincoln Woodstock and then the planning board and then there's the ZBA and yeah, so,
I mean, I've had several times in town hall where, as you guys know, you've all met 4 or 5 people I meet in my little meeting room and that works good, but there's also times when there's 2 or 3 of us want to have small group meetings and we don't have that option
Right.
to do it. And so something like, stuff like that. And I think you get closer, and I will almost bet the conversation will move is if we make the decision, we may not want to reinvent the wheel, but we may want to put out an RFQ for a architectural firm who deals in this type of stuff
Mm.
and knows what the trends and stuff are to put something together for our review. That might save us a lot of time. and
No
ink-
question. I think
time
we
and
put
ink.
that on the agenda for the next meeting. If we do in fact come back and decide that, yeah, we need to start designing something that we can build within the next few years, whether it be a year or 2 or 5. At that point, we can't, I don't think we could do it without
Right.
hiring a firm with
And
experience.
undoubtedly, they'll have, once you select, they'll have a ton of options. You can still pick and choose, but then you, by whatever year standards we're going, well, we're doing the latest and greatest.
Sure.
So are we also talking the possible consideration of moving the fire department with the engines? And then you have that building as well as the town hall would have to be sold?
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
definitely.
you'd have-
You'd have that building to consider as well. The
Okay.
library.
The
I'll
only
just tell you,
issue with that building, right, is the library is on part of that piece of property. So there would have to be, and the buildings are only, what, 4 feet apart. So there would have to be some
And they've
lot line
expressed an interest.
adjustments and such.
Yeah, the members of the trustees have, not just the employees, but the trustees have expressed an interest in that building if it ever came vacant. Why, I don't know, because structurally, it's not a great building.
Mm,
I will tell you, one of the first things I dealt with when I got here 8 years ago was that building was falling down, literally. And we had to go in and
Bunch of foundation work.
we had to dig out the old cellar hole for the Lincoln Inn that had burned. They never cleaned it out. They just put gravel over the top and built the fire station on top of it. And we did, I think, a whole pallet full of 2x4s were put in as braces in the attic to keep
From
the roof
separating.
building from rack or shaking. And Ron says if you get up there and really shake, you can still make that building move. So it's not a valuable building, but it is a saleable building. And the library has obviously has interest in it. But the way that things are in town, and I don't know if it's going to cool down, that property, even if someone razzed that building, that's a piece of property downtown,
Right.
something. So, yeah.
All good points. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for your help and your interest, and you have homework and
And for volunteering to chair and that's,
yes.
I want to
Volunteer-
put that on the air so Al can listen to it when he,
Thank you, Al. We appreciate your volunteering to chair this committee.
We'll practice this Zoom call stuff.
I'll get the minutes
you
typed up.
guys are doing good. Some people don't do as good as you just did. So,
right.
Yeah, but we had to call Rhode Island to figure it out.
That's okay. You'll be professionals in a couple of months.
that's right.
You want to set the next meeting date now, or do you want to wait till these minutes go out?
I'm gonna get together with Ron and we'll send out a doodle. That way Al can chime in, Al Pullen can chime in, and maybe we can get something that works a little better for everyone.
I'm good in the afternoons,
Okay,
unless there's no school like this week.
right. I know that with all meetings, it's never good for everyone, but we'll try to make it
Right.
good for most.
Between now and March, it's crazy. Then it kind of tapers off
Right.
a little.
And we're mid-January now, so we'll aim for a meeting mid-February and we'll send it out email to all of you and figure it out.
But I'll be good as long as you pick a day with no snow.
I'll make sure that
People are
happens.
praying for snow, Jim, so I'm just saying. Yeah.
Our next Zoom is going to be to Florida, just so you know.
There you go.
Perfect,
All right.
perfect.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna,
Bye.
Thank you.
ending this meeting at 3:52 PM, and we'll be in touch. Ron, I'll get